Every year, millions of people worldwide become obsessed with a hobby, brewing. And yet, when they want to relax with a game about their passion, they're stuck with a few titles that feel half-baked. Today, we're looking at a market that is screaming for attention but has somehow been left on the shelf. Brewing games.
And we're not just talking about brewing beer. There's an audience for every type of brewing imaginable, like whiskey, mead, and kombucha. They spend thousands on equipment, hours on fermentation logs, and absolutely way too much time on Reddit arguing about water chemistry.
Is it foamy? Is it hoppy? Does it have a surprisingly fruity note which lingers on the tongue?
It's beer.
And unlike the segment that we looked at in our last video, Storm Chasing Games, these games have a common complaint in the reviews: abandonment. But the question is, why are so many of them being left feeling unfinished?
First, the market gap. There are 21 brewing and bar management games on Steam, which doesn't sound like a lot, and you'd be right. Our saturation score for this segment is 6.1. That's just below the Steam average, and so it's not a particularly saturated market.
But here's the kicker: the games that do exist have a problem. They're either abandoned by their developers, or they're so niche that they don't know who they're building for.
Take Brewpub Simulator, for example. It launched to positive reviews in 2023 because players love the high level of creative freedom. Then, silence. No updates, no communication. The developer vanished. Why? Because although it made hundreds of thousands of dollars, the revenue this game generated just isn't enough to support a small team to keep it updated long term. With an average revenue of $22,000 per game, the economics don't support ongoing development. A small team might cost over $30,000 per month, so the maths just doesn't work.
So developers have a choice: keep the project small and abandon it after launch, or find a breakout hit. And no brewing game has achieved breakout status yet.
But before we talk about why they're failing, let's talk about what brewing games actually are. Because, and this is important, brewing games aren't just one genre. It's actually 3 genres fighting for the same name.
Games like Brewmaster treat brewing as an applied chemistry. You manage fermentation temperature, select grains by their SRM colour value, track alcohol by volume. It's granular, it's technical, and it requires learning real-world brewing principles. Why? Because the players want to learn. They're true beer enthusiasts seeking validation, and reviews confirm this. Moonshine Inc. is different. It's SimCity with bootleg liquor. You're managing supply chains, avoiding the police, balancing 4 different alcohol types, and managing bases across 5 regions of the map. The brewing is just one of many mechanics. Even though you can acquire over 50 ingredients and unlock over 70 different recipes, the real goal is business expansion, not chemical mastery. Type 3 is basically pub sim and major elements of Brewpub Simulator. You're running a thriving pub, decorating it, managing inventory, taking orders and serving drinks. The goal is to be engrossed in a simulation of running a pub in real life, not optimization.
So here's the problem that most brewing games face. They don't know which one they want to be. Some tried to be all 3, which, as we saw with Storm Chasing Games, is a death sentence, especially if you've got a small team. So who's playing these games? Let me introduce you to 2 players who want to love brewing games, but can't find one that fits.
They're a chemical engineer who brews beer in their garage. They have over 15 fermentation buckets and can't resist showing up with their latest batch at every social gathering. They're kind of like Gordon in Colin from Accounts.
It's not a move.
This is not a move?
Oh my God. Is it working?
When they play a brewing game, they're not looking for relaxation. They get that from their real-life microbrewery. They're looking for validation by applying their knowledge. They want the game to teach them something real. The problem is, if the game simplifies brewing, they feel insulted. If it's too complex without clear progression, they get frustrated. Brewmaster hits the sweet spot for the chemist, but Brewpub Simulator bores them immediately. The Chill Manager plays Stardew Valley and 2 Point Hospital. Essentially, they have a stressful job and want video games that are low stakes. They don't want to think about fermentation temperature, they want to decorate their virtual pub, name the beer something silly, and relax. But there's a problem. If the game has too many metrics and optimization, it feels like work. And if there's a tutorial required before playing, they're gone. PubSim is perfect for the chill manager, but Brewmaster is overwhelming.
And here's the insight. Most brewing games try to satisfy both. They include detailed brewing mechanics and cozy aesthetics. They have story progression and bar decoration. They're trying to be everything. The result is that the games fail to satisfy both the chemist and the chill manager. The chemist finds it too shallow and the bar manager finds it too complicated. They both leave bad reviews for different reasons. There's actually a bigger flaw in brewing games: abandoned development. Watch what happens to every brewing game.
Month 1, launch. Reviews pour in. Finally, the brewing game I've been waiting for. Players are excited. Month 3, silence. No patch notes, no dev communication, no roadmap. Month 6, negative reviews accumulate. This is abandoned, don't buy. Sentiment flips from positive to mixed. This isn't incompetence, it's just economics. Remember, a small team could cost around 30k per month, and brewing games generate an average of 22k lifetime revenue, which means that a developer ends up earning only 6% of what they need to sustain development and keep updating the game. So the rational choice is ship the game, take the 22k and move on to the next project. The pattern repeats across Brewpub Simulator, the Pub Life Simulator, and nearly every other title in this segment.
So what would a successful brewing game look like? I'm talking about one that satisfies one audience and brings in enough revenue to sustain development after launch. Here are 6 opportunities the market is screaming for.
This is a game that focuses purely on brewing chemistry. The goal is understanding how ingredients interact to produce irresistible new beer flavours. It has educational depth and real brewing knowledge applies. The target audience for this is the chemist, a craft enthusiast willing to learn complex systems. This would be a brewing tycoon game where market conditions change, you're navigating competitors, and failure is possible. There's no safe progression in this game, just a strategy and risk-reward system that keeps you hooked. Think House of Guinness in the 21st century. The ideal audience for this one would be tycoon and strategy fans. This game is where brewing is just the hook. The real core loop is creative customization, designing beer labels, sharing designs, and building a community of beer label collectors around the world. Artists and content creators would be your audience for this one. A narrative-driven game where brewing and management serves as the setting for an emotional rollercoaster of a story. In your speakeasy, there are emotional stakes and characters that matter, perfect for story game enthusiasts. A game designed for 2 to 4 player co-op with asymmetric roles. One player manages inventory, one bartends, one handles customers, one avoids all of the responsibility. After working in a pub myself, I can imagine it would be communication-based chaos, perfect as a party game and streaming audiences. Instead of beer or whiskey, this game focuses on underrepresented beverages like kombucha, mead, sake, and artisanal sodas. The fermentation cycles are faster, you have to figure out new ingredient systems, and visually it will be a total novelty. The target players are trend seekers.
Each of these addresses a specific gap in the market, but the problem is that none of them exist yet. So why hasn't anyone built these? We see 2 main reasons. The first one is scope creep. Most brewing games try to do too much. The smart play is to pick one mechanic and perfect it. But when we see competition, it's so tempting to think, we need more features. The second one is community underestimation. The homebrew community on Reddit alone has over 500,000 members. Mead enthusiasts, kombucha fermenters, craft beer geeks, they exist, but brewing games just aren't reaching them. The opportunity is presence, not novelty. A game that deeply understands homebrewing culture and serves it with polish could dominate in this segment. Here's the bottom line. The brewing game segment is a missed opportunity, not because players don't exist, but because developers haven't figured out a way to serve them profitably. Yet.
The chemist wants deep brewing simulation. The chill manager wants cozy relaxation. But no single team has successfully built for any one of these and planned sustainable post-launch support. The first developer who solves this, so a developer who picks an audience, commits to making a game with depth,
and maintains the game for over 2 years, will launch into a niche with genuine enthusiasm. At Game Oracle, we find these opportunities every day with our map of every game on Steam, and we're going to be talking about them a lot more on this YouTube channel. So I'd love it if you subscribe so that we can keep bringing you gaps like these way into the future. If you want to know what other markets the game industry is leaving on the shelf without waiting for the next video, you can explore them all on the Game Oracle platform. They're all there waiting for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.